Good afternoon, everybody. This is College Baseball Weekly back with another edition. We are privileged to be joined by University of Minnesota head coach Ty McDevitt. The Gophers last year finished 24 and 28. Had some very tough road games early at Houston. Also, they played in one of the college, baseball classics early in the year. Coach, how was fall ball so far? And how do you like your newcomers? And how was the portal? Did you go portal heavy upperclassmen, lowerclassmen, a combination of both? How did that go? How do you like the newcomers that are trying to get assimilated to your program?
Yeah, well, first of all, I appreciate you having me and connecting with us about the Golden Gophers and our baseball program. The fall was good. You know, we had an opportunity to get out and have our guys compete mostly against each other. But we feel like we've got a team that has been able to build some depth upon what we had last year. We're returning the middle of our order. We're returning the middle of our defense, and returning a handful of quality arms on the mound. And so that was a good starting point. And we jumped into the portal and were able to grab a pretty good handful of guys that I expect to make an immediate impact on our ball club. So you look at guys like Jack Bello from Butler, you look at Michael Lippy from Louisville, Ty Allen from Belmont on the offensive side, and then you can't get into that group without talking about Davis Hamilton from North Dakota State, who we've had the privilege, and use that word jokingly, but playing against him and trying to get him out for the last 3 years. So we've been able to strengthen our offensive group, and then the same thing on the pitching side of things. Isaac Borton, who is Texas A&M, coming in.
Okay.
Brendan Janke, who was a stud at the Turbo and had some really quality outings in the Northwoods League and in the save closer role, and then to cap all that off, another highlight was Marcus Cruzan, who was a Friday night starter for St. Thomas right across the river here. So
Okay.
certainly excited about the guys that we're returning, and certainly excited about the guys that we brought in.
Yeah, North Dakota State, they had that great run last year at the end of the year, ended up getting in the tournament. Oral Roberts is usually favored in that league, and they're one of those small teams that made it to the College World Series. So I'm sure that was a great pickup for your ball club. Um,
Yeah, we've had a first-hand look at him for 3 straight years now, and we had the opportunity to add him onto the portal, and we jumped at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And coach, with fall ball, I've covered some here and there, but there's a lot of clubs, down Texas, far west, they're doing scrimmages. I remember Texas actually played, I think Tech. Yeah, they played Tech at AAA Round Rock Stadium. What do you think about the new format with fall ball? I know you said you mostly scrimmage each other, but what do you think about a new format where people can go and actually scrimmage other teams? I know in college football, they kind of hinted at it. I know Coach Prime and Coach Gundy joked about it, but what do you think about the new format where people are actually able to go out and scrimmage other teams in the fall? Go,
Yeah,
something. Go ahead, Coach.
I
My bad.
definitely think allowing us to play outside competition is a good thing for our sport, and I won't get into the details, but we're hamstrung by a few things that are institutional policies here that don't allow us to do that the way that we would like to. But I think overall, having that ability to go through a game day experience, especially for newcomers and for freshmen, and having the opportunity to just play somebody other than your own team. It always helps elevate your ball club, and it always helps elevate the game in total.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing from most coaches that I interview. Coaches that I like the fact that it kind of helps them get to know their newcomers and they're playing the game before because you guys come back in January. You noticed all well. You got NFL playoffs, college football playoffs. Once the Super Bowl is over, it's go time, and when the season goes, it flies.
Yes, it certainly does. It certainly does. So anytime you can get a look at them and how they perform when the lights turn on, it certainly is an advantage.
And then your conference coach, it wasn't as many teams, but obviously college baseball is different. You can have a lot of teams from conference, USA, or I remember one year the Sun Belt got four, and I think last year, what was it? It was Oregon, Nebraska. Who am I missing, coaches? Two more that got in
UCLA.
UCLA and USC, and
Got it.
yeah, those were the ones. Now those that's a good one. So okay, coach, like I did notice, and I would like to come up there this year because I'm always covering the tournaments early. But then somebody told me, it's like, no, you can go cover a Minnesota game. There's like, it might be cold. He said, but they actually get to play in the dome. I was like, what? It was like, yeah. He's like, they get to play in like the Vikings stadium. I said, oh well, I'm not going to try and stay south of the border. I'm not going to do just Texas and Florida and everything. I said, I might go check that out. I said, that's pretty cool. But you guys not getting those midweeks, and I know Michigan has showed over and over consistently that you can win, up north, even though you don't have the midweeks in early February like a lot of the other teams, coach. You know, how do and I know you got USC, UCLA, Oregon, and those are teams that are in the Big Ten now, but they're on the, far West Coast, and that's great for your conference. But how do you, stay motivated and keep going through those things when you know that you have to be able to get into the tournament and compete, and you may not get a Tuesday game on, let's say, a February 17th, coach, or a February 23rd. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you definitely have to construct your schedule differently than other people do geographically, and we've got obviously constraints with our weather and missed class policy and the whole 9 yards, and so you've got to be really strategic on how you go about scheduling. You've got to try to find as many early games as possible. I think any college coach would talk about that, and it being a requirement for figuring out what you have as a ball club, who you've got, what your starting nine looks like, what your starting rotation looks like, giving some of the younger guys, the new guys, an opportunity to get in there and see what they can do. Because as much as practice matters, a lot of times things don't get teased out good, bad, and different until you put them in a game stage. So you've got to be strategic with the way that you schedule early, and us having US Bank Stadium is a tremendous advantage. Now, we don't have it for the entirety of February and March. It's a handful of weekends in the middle part of those months, but
Mm-hmm.
it certainly gives us an opportunity to get on the road early, go south, get some games under our belt, and then come home and do what you're talking about. Play some midweek series, have some midweek games, get some guys on the bump, guys in the box that maybe haven't gotten much of an opportunity to that point in the year. And
Absolutely.
for us, a lot of times in the good seasons that we've had, that becomes a swing point in the year. Where maybe you're a guy short, or you're trying to figure out where this guy fits at this position or the order, and playing those midweek games against South Dakota States, North Dakota States, St. Thomas's, the local teams that we have. Those are very valuable for figuring out what kind of ball club you have, especially come conference play.
Absolutely. And coach, uh, I'm gonna ask you a fun question. Now, I watched it. I don't know if you stayed awake, but I watched a majority of that game, but I couldn't finish it last night. 18 innings. Who does Coach McDevitt have? Well, I'll say this: who wins the World Series, Coach, and in how many games?
Well, you're better than I am. I don't think I made it past the seventh last night. I had a feeling where that thing was headed. Who wins the World Series? I mean, I think I got to go with the Blue Jays. I think I got to go with the Blue Jays. I don't know how many people outside of Dodgers fans are rooting for the Blue Jays right now, but everybody loves a good story like that one. And Louis Varland being a local kid, somebody that works out at our facilities,
Okay.
and I know George Springer is good buddies with my recruiting coordinator, Connor Gandassi. So we've got some connections within that organization, and it'd be awesome to see those guys pull it off.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's a different one from all the coaches so far. Okay, somebody finally going with the Blue Jays. I like it, Coach. I like it, and they have a similar situation. Well, obviously they have an indoor stadium, and that's what I'll finish with. At what point, and people tell me I'm crazy, and I say this all the time, Coach. They have retractable roofs. We're in 2025. They got all these different technologies and things, Coach. At what point do you think we have college baseball and there's a retractable roof, small indoor stadium?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Well, hopefully sooner rather than later. Sounds like you need to get into fundraising or something like that. Sounds like you've got the idea to make that happen.
somebody will come up with a coach, and I guarantee you're gonna laugh because now you like when I talk to some of the coaches of Ohio State, Penn State. Now you guys, when you got midweeks in February, March, okay, hey, come on up to my facility. We can play right. You know what I mean? Like you said. So that was Coach McDevitt, University of Minnesota Golden Gophers, here on collegebaseballweekly.com. We'll upload this to all the different socials. Coach, who do you open up with? You got your schedule yet, or you haven't released it yet?
We have not announced our schedule officially, but right now it looks like we'll be down at Stetson playing a round robin against Stetson, St. John's, and Ball State.
Okay, down in Florida.
And then we'll stay down in the state of Florida for the following weekend. So definitely looking forward to it.
Excellent. Coach, I appreciate your time. I know it's a busy time of year. You got a lot of stuff going on. The break will come, and I know you'll be rolling come February. Best of luck to you, Coach. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yep.